OB57 is on the way, friends. There's quite a bit of new things to talk about, so let's get right into it. Cassie and Inara are getting their mastery rewards, and Inara is also getting a new uncommon skin called Sunstone. As for our new epic skins, we have L-Exo Suit Lex. I know some of you hate that, some of you love it. I'm definitely one of the people who love it. This comes with an accessory, body, weapon, voice pack, and spray. It looks like sprays for epics are now becoming the standard, which is cool. The voice pack, coupled with the fact he's wearing a mask, makes him feel like an entirely new character. Here, go ahead, take a listen.
Guys, I need to shoot. Please unlock firearm restrictions. I come in peace. If you break the law, I will shoot you, but I'll do it as peacefully as I can.
There is also V1 Ktor Victor. This comes with an accessory, body, weapon, voice pack, and spray as well. It also fits into the sci-fi space theme along with Lex's skin. Here's what his voice pack sounds like.
There's war, even here. Barrage incoming! I want you kitted up and ready for drop in 5 minutes.
These skins come in a new box called the Deep Space Box. I'm not entirely positive how much the box is a pop or what's in it besides those skins, but when the PTS is up, I'll leave a comment below letting you guys know about those two things. That's it for cosmetics. Let's talk about the new damaged character, Strix, Ghost Feather. Not the Ghost Feather, just Ghost Feather. Anyway, this guy used to be a part of Victor's unit, and he apparently was Kness's teacher as well. He has 2 weapons that you can swap between with your Q ability. His first is a bolt action sniper. It deals 1300 to the body and 1950 to the head. When you fire, it descopes you, so you have to reacquire your target every time you attack. His second weapon is a pistol. It's semi-auto and fast firing. It loses accuracy the faster you fire it. It does 249 to the body and 372 to the head. Kind of weird numbers, I know. His right click will either scope you in if you're using the sniper or fire a flare if you're using a pistol. Hey, a flare! Yeah! This flare will reveal nearby enemies unless you hit an enemy directly with it. If you hit an enemy directly, it'll deal 200 damage to them and burn them for 50 more damage. If the flare is on the floor and somebody steps on it, it'll hurt them and burn them, but it'll stop the reveal. So if you want to take one for the team, you can. It's pretty minimal damage, so if you're not low, I'd recommend doing this. His F is a stealth on a toggle that is also on a resource system, and it's just like Drogos' fuel system. It takes a bit of the meter when activating stealth, and there's a minimum amount of the meter that's required to activate the stealth. The stealth takes about half a second to activate, and it'll turn off when attacking. As for his ultimate, it's a flashbang. It has a pretty big radius, but the effects of it have a pretty severe fall off to it. It pretty much works like any old flashbang. In the footage here, it's affecting himself, but that's just so you guys can see what it looks like. It won't affect the user in-game. Okay, so that's it for Strix. I feel like this guy will be pretty good in lower tiers, but in higher tiers you won't see very much play, because the players there will all know how to deal with him. Now let's talk about balance. There's some really cool stuff here. 3 characters are sort of getting reworks, and I'll go over them first and then talk about the regular balance. So Lex's weapons are getting reworked. Their ammo count is going up to 10. They will fire much faster and be semi-auto. They'll now do 400 to the body and lose accuracy the faster you fire. This all makes for higher DPS, but you have to manage the accuracy loss. His heroism legendary is also getting reworked. It will now give him a 90% damage reduction and CC immunity while combat sliding. It looks like they decided to take this from a certain other character after seeing the success that it brought to her. It's definitely a much better card, and you'll get to use it a lot more often than Ash can, but you have to be much better with your timing in order to avoid things. Next is Ying, and no nerfs. 2 updates in a row with only buffs to Ying. I love you, Hi-Rez. Her ultimate is getting reworked. Instead of putting down healing deployables that are placed wherever your teammates are at that moment, the heal will be placed directly on them and move with them. The heal will also go faster. It's the same amount of healing, it's just going out a lot quicker. Her dimensional link will now have a UI indicator that'll display on what illusion or teammate you're looking at so you know where you'll teleport to. Hopefully we'll start to seeing rise a bit more thanks to this rework and that mirror buff from the last update. The last of the 3 characters getting reworked is Ruckus. Repulsor Field is getting removed and Emitter will take its slot. This leaves the right click open for something new, and that's missile launchers. His right click will now fire out 2 missiles that both deal 250 damage in an AoE. These rockets don't apply COT or Wrecker. So this is definitely a survivability nerf, but also a definite damage buff. We'll see how this pans out. I'm hoping it turns out to be for the better because I definitely have been taking a liking to Ruckus lately. I do want to add that the Repulsor Field cards are of course getting turned into Missile Launcher cards. Now for the more usual standard balance. Characters that can't reload can no longer buy Def Hands. It's kinda silly they had to add this, but I'm still glad they did it regardless. Fernando is getting toned down. He's been very strong lately and a must pick or must ban more often than not. His charge will now pass through barriers, but its cooldown is going from 8 to 9 seconds. His fireball no longer reduces healing by default. Instead, it'll be on the card Brand, which will reduce it by 20, 40, 60, or 80% for 3 seconds depending on the card's tier. Next up is Glenos. Glenos has really been on the rise as of late. He gets a lot of healing, basically taking a game's out of combat healing, speeding it up, and making it his own. He's also difficult to kill because he can get away very easily, and he can just stand behind things and still heal people since the mark can be applied through walls. He's a very easy character to play, and he's a bit too rewarding for how easy he is, and Hi-Rez understands this, so they're reducing his stellar wind speed from 75% to 65%, so it'll now be as fast as Victor's sprint, and Maeve's base prowl, except still better than Maeve's prowl, but anyways, his healing is also getting reduced from 250 per second to 220 per second. Hopefully these adjustments will help to put Glenos back below Maldamba in the community's eyes, because a character that has to put in more work should always be more effective than one who doesn't have to put in much at all. Okay, Lian. Lian has been nerf-free for 2 updates. That comes to an end. We all knew something was coming, and I'm pretty satisfied with how they decided to go about it. Lian's Precision Legendary will no longer grant bonus damage. It will only give the auto reload upon using Grace. Lian's biggest problem was that she had too much burst and too much DPS. Lian is of course a glass cannon, so she has to be able to pump out a lot of damage, but it was a bit too much because of this legendary. Her auto aim abilities were never really the problem, despite how some people don't really like getting killed by them. Nerfing this legendary was the best way to go, and hey, it also does hit the auto aim abilities because they'll do less damage as well. I don't think the legendary will be bad either. I still feel like it'll be the go-to choice because it eliminates the need to reload, so it raises your DPS. This will probably put her into a healthy spot without gutting her, so I'm going to give Hi-Rez props on this one. They did good. Maeve attacking slower on lower frame rates is getting fixed, and Makoa's hook canceling when he fires before hooking is getting fixed as well. Skye is getting some pretty big buffs here. Her poison bolt duration is now going from 4 to 5 seconds, and the tick frequency is going from 1 to 0.2 seconds. They will also no longer reduce healing, so there's going to be more damage and it's going to be coming out a lot faster. Her Debilitate and Surprise Attack legendaries are getting buffed too. Surprise Attack will now deal 500 damage instead of 300. As for Debilitate, the Poison Bolt dot will now deal 33% more damage, twice as fast. Skye will also be getting a heal reduction card for her Poison Bolts, just like how Fernando got for his Fireball. It's called the Crepify. That's it for character balance. There's a few other things I want to go over before we close out. The banning system for banning players will now tell you when somebody you reported has been banned. This is a good way to be positive on if they're actually doing something wrong or not. So if you don't receive a notification, then maybe that guy who is just better than you wasn't actually aimbotting. Who would have thought? I'm just messing. I see that a lot though. I got called an aimbotter while playing Drogos. Drogos, like what? Like, what's an aimbot gonna do for rockets? You can now turn off the profanity filter, so words like something, because it has, the word meth in it, won't get censored anymore. That's pretty cool. The top play will now have a specific line for the character getting it. VDS can't be used until this line is done. These lines have been in the game for a while. I've heard a few of them on some sites before. They just never play, so it's cool that they're finally making them play. Normally I just use the VEW and VED lines in place of them, but now I don't have to. Now this is a really good one that I was really hoping for. New characters will be banned from competitive for 2 weeks. This gives people time to learn the character before bringing them into competitive. It also eliminates people who want to be that guy and try out new characters in competitive. People who do that wear the team down, and it forces teams to ban the new character so people can't do that, effectively always taking up a ban slot. 2 weeks is a pretty fair amount, I'd say. It's basically until the next update. And that's it for this update, guys. So what do you guys think of it? What do you guys think of the skins, the character, the balance? Let me know. I love reading your guys' opinions. And that's pretty much it. I want to thank you all for watching. I very much appreciate it. And I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.